The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone.
Hi everyone, it's Sophia Melonē, the Debt Demolisher, here to bring you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you manage your financial baggage the right way. What an honor and privilege it is to be before you all for yet another night as we jump into our intense, immense, focused discussions around none other than ET's daily nuggets that I have been pulling and posting on the community page each day at the top of the morning during the entire month of May. And so with today being the 19th day of May, we are talking about how to ensure that we be the best version of ourselves, how to ensure that we bring our maximum, we put forth maximum effort in everything that we do, regardless of what happens, regardless of what comes forth, how we show up for ourselves and for our ones that we love and for our purpose and for our mission. Before we jump into the conversation, I first want to acknowledge each and every one of you and again say thank you so much for all of the love that you have been sharing, all of the encouragement that you've been sharing, all of the support, all of the surprises. I'm telling you, I am appreciating every single bit of it, and I am just honored. And I want to, again, apologize for the interruption in our live stream tonight. And so as a result of that interruption that we had, I'm coming back and I'm having this conversation so that we can ensure that we have our day 19 conversation fully covered on today. Shout out to Peaceful Love. You already know how we do. So I want to go ahead and jump into the conversation of what we covered during today's lesson. So if you are not familiar with this channel, each day there is a community post that goes out by 9 o'clock. I think today it went out at 8 because it was an early day. Actually did two quote cards for today. So based on the video lesson that's selected for the day, I pull a quote out of it, put it on a quote card, post it on the community page, and then also include the link to the full video lesson so that way you all can be able to see it and view it. And so with that, we're going to be going into that conversation around extreme effort. So the video that ET talked about and is also linked down in the description box. So feel free to click down in the description box in order to listen to the video, or I'll go ahead and link it right here for you guys to be able to see that. But in this lesson, he talked about a lot, and let's open up the notes because one of the things that I do as each lesson is selected, I'm listening to the video for the day and I'm taking notes for myself. And I want to highly encourage you all to do the same. But let's jump into our day 19. What did it talk about when he said extreme effort? He says off the break in the beginning of the conversation. What was the first thing that ET said? Don't expect front row seats if you're giving nosebleed efforts. Ouch! Who else screamed when they heard that part inside of the video? I know I did. I said, oh, he's coming out with a bang. He's starting this whole conversation with a bang. This was super duper and powerful. And this was amazing to hear because it really made you think. Don't expect to be at the front row. Don't expect to be on courtside. Don't expect to be at the very front seeing everything, having the best view when you're giving a nosebleed effort. Nosebleed effort. How powerful is that? He continues on by saying, everybody wants to win, but everybody don't want to work. Are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to stay in the work? Are you willing to be committed inside of the work? Are you? That's going to be the difference between what makes or what breaks your financial success and what's going to make or break your ability to remain in extreme focus so that you can execute with extreme effort. He says everybody wants the reward, but they don't want to do the work. They don't want to work. He says, when you get a call, or he says for him, ET, when he gets a call, he says that he has to show up 120% every time. When you are called on the front line, do you show up at 120%? When you clock into your job, do you show up 120%? When you hit the record button for your videos, do you show up 120%? Do you? Whenever it's time for you to go on, you better go on strong, 120%. And yesterday we talked about this in the live stream, We talked about identifying what 120% looks like to you, what 120% looks like to you and your efforts, because my 120% may not look like your 120%, which is the reason why it's so important for us to identify what that looks like in our eyes, so that way we can have a rubric, so that way we can have an outline, so that way we can have a target, so that way we can know whether or not we've met that mark. ET continues on by saying that people always says to him, E, your videos changed my life. And what did E say? He said, that's what it was intended to do. That's what it was intended to do. And this ties into the intention principle, because whatever you create, whatever you do should have an intention. The reason why I come on this platform, the reason why I upload these videos is because it's tied to my mission. It's tied to my mission to help people transform their financial lives. Men, women, and children, regardless of age. Regardless of age. So what is your purpose? What are my videos intended to do? It's intended to transform financial lives. It's intended to change and make debt freedom the new norm. It's intended to allow wealth building to be our now natural nature of habit. That's my intention. That's what I'm making sure that I'm delivering when it comes to hitting this play button, or when it comes to turning on this record button. That's my intention. So my videos are intended to transform your life, because that's the intention that I put behind it when I create it and when I deliver it live. He also says, when you give effort, don't give 70%, don't give 80%. You got to give 120%. 120%. And I know it can be hard to do this in all aspects of your life. I know it can be hard to show up at 120% at all times. It may seem hard, but we have to understand that it's a mind over matter situation. We have the power to tell our minds any and everything, and it'll do it. So you have to be willing to get on stage and show extreme effort. You have to be willing to show up for your clients and pull up an extreme effort. You have to be willing to walk into your job and show extreme effort. He says, don't be in the front row getting the front row seats, but you're giving those nosebleed efforts. Ouch. What does nosebleed effort look like to you? You weren't willing to pay the price to get down on the front line. You weren't willing to pay the price to get close enough to the front. That's nosebleed efforts. You're not willing to wake up. You're not willing to schedule your days to record consistently. You're not willing to map your budgets out and do your money planning on a consistent basis. You're not willing to tell your money where to go. You're not willing to stop spending out on eating out for 6 months. You're not willing. You're not willing to pay the price. So you're doing nosebleed activities, expecting front row results would look like an 800 plus credit score, which would look like demolition of over $350,000 of debt, which would look like building a savings reserve or building a cash reserve to $30,000, $40,000, and $50,000. It would look like. But you still want to do nosebleed efforts, eating out every day, not telling your money where to go, not wanting to invest, still sticking to those old behaviors, but you're expecting your life on the financial end, on the front end, to be a front row seat. That does not equate. Look at it from yourself. Look at it from your own perspective. Look at it from where you are, and really think about the effort that you're putting in. Really think about the effort that you're putting in. Are you doing nosebleed effort? Or are you doing courtside seat effort? Front row seat effort? ET continues on by saying, I cannot accept not trying. We gotta try. Like I said, it may be challenging to always consistently go after demonstrating extreme effort, but you cannot accept not trying to do it. But first, you got to identify what that 120% looks like to you. That's the first step. That's the most important step, because you have to know what that looks like in order to really see it. ET talked about how he gave his 120%. He gave extreme effort towards his YouTube channel. He had been putting out YouTube videos for years. He started his channel, I believe, I can't remember if it was 2013 or something along those lines. He started his channel, might have been longer than that. He started his channel. He said, didn't nobody pay me to do YouTube? And it's still extreme. He said he has so much content on his YouTube channel, it's for free. You can get your transformation just by watching the nuggets. You can get your transformation just by implementing what he's saying inside of it. That's why we're coming into this space and we're doing this work. That's why we're coming into this space and we're doing this work. He says, because I got my mama's name on it when I do it. I represent my legacy and my ancestors when I do it. I represent where I'm from when I do it. He said, my name is on the back. How can you envision your name on the back of what you do? How can you envision your name attached to whatever you do? I think that's really going to help us with our ability to show up as our best selves, understanding that our name is attached to it. Put that into perspective. He says, everything you do it like it's going to be your last time. Do it like it's going to be the last time you're going to do it. So you have to show up and you have to do your best like it's your last. He also encourages us not to quit. He says, don't quit, because once you quit, it becomes a habit. He says, and I'm not saying don't rest. I'm not saying don't recover. Ooh, I needed to hear that. He's saying don't quit mentally. Don't quit mentally. He said, mentally, you don't have to take off. Mentally, you can stay connected. So stay connected. Stay connected. He says, I need extreme effort under extreme conditions. Some of y'all are extreme effort until it gets hot, until the pressure starts boiling. How many times we know that we can go, but when stuff starts to happen, when things go down, when interruptions come up, you let it slide. You don't show your extreme effort. An example of an extreme effort is what happened tonight. I was not expecting a 5-minute conversation to turn into a 45-minute conversation. And granted, I want to be available for those who love me and for those who I love. And so thankfully, with your patience and with your grace and with your understanding, we all understood that the live stream that was held tonight needed to conclude. It needed to conclude. It needed to conclude. And now that time that was needed to hold that conversation has come to an end for tonight, extreme effort for me looks like, okay, it's getting late. So instead of going live again, how about you just record the lesson? How about you record the overview? And how about you do all of that and you still put it out? Extreme effort. Why? Because my mission's name is attached to the back of this. Why? Because this content has purpose. Why? Because this exercise is designed and intended to help transform your financial life, help transform your mindset, help transform and rebirth a new you. So because something came up, doesn't mean that I have to turn it off for the rest of the night. I still have enough energy to keep going. I still have enough energy to turn on the record button. I still have enough energy to talk through this entire lesson because I'm dedicated to this. Why? Because I'm dedicated to you, especially in the way that you all have shown so much love in celebration of life and wisdom for me. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And so I owe it to you. I owe it to you to bring it every time. I owe it to you to make up where needed. I owe it to you to give you what was promised. That's what I owe to you. And for me, that's what extreme effort looks like. Extreme effort to me looks like getting it done, showing up, doing what you said you were going to do for the people in this space. What did you commit to for them? Uphold your end of the bargain. That's 120% for me. For me. He says we must learn to give extreme effort under extreme conditions. So this is when things start to go haywire. This is when family issues start to come up. This is when parenting challenges begin to surface. This is when medical challenges begin to surface. This is when challenges and enemies on the job begin to surface. We have to push through it. Extreme effort under extreme conditions. Because honestly and truthfully, everything that we've experienced, everything that we've gone through, everything that we may be going through in the moment doesn't warrant a conversation. It doesn't warrant an explanation. It doesn't warrant being addressed. You have to keep doing what you need to do because you have a greater purpose and a greater vision. E.T. said in this video, which was a quote by Kobe Bryant, and I could kind of relate to this because I felt E.T. when he was like, I didn't understand Kobe. I didn't, because I think that's probably why I didn't, because he just seemed so cocky, and I don't mesh well with cocky personalities. It's kind of like a turnoff for me personally. So I never was like a fan of his. I knew he was a good player. Everybody knew it was good, but just based on what I saw, the personality that I saw, it didn't mesh well with me. Not like in a way where I would talk bad or that. I was just like, okay, whatever. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't any of that. But as I started to see different videos about him, and this is after he passed, of course, I started seeing videos all over the place. And when I began to listen to his interviews and listen to how he talked and listen to how he talked about his game, I was like, wow, he really had a different level of work ethic. Now it makes sense. But he said something that stung. He said that Kobe Bryant said that I can't relate to lazy people. He said that I don't understand them and I don't want to understand them. That could seem harsh, very harsh, saying it to somebody off in the manner in which he said it. But even E.T. said in his lesson, now he understood where he was coming from because his work ethic was so strong. He said that they would play against a team, they would lose, and everybody on the team would be partying in that state. And he's like, what are we celebrating? We just lost a game. Why are we going to the club and partying and popping bottles and doing all this? And we just lost the game. We need to be working on whatever shot we missed. We need to be working on our craft so that when we play them again, we can be able to beat them. So he had an extreme work ethic that a lot of people may not understand, but people will respect it once they really see it. He says that E.T. closed out the conversation in this video saying that we must teach our young people that it's okay to celebrate and have a good time, but don't celebrate when there's nothing to celebrate. Don't celebrate when there's nothing to celebrate. So think about how often you're celebrating yourself and really thinking about, what are you celebrating for? What are you celebrating for? And you can use this as an incentive to help you bring maximum effort, bring the best version of you forward every single time it's time for you to show up. Because your name is on the line. Your purpose is on the line. Your mission is on the line. Your legacy is on the line. Remember, your financial prosperity awaits you, and so does your financial sanity. You already know what I'm going to tell you to do, and that's what? Get to work. All right. Bye. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow for day 20.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melonē. The Debt Demolisher